Hey guys, it's Telle from The Word Alive, and you're watching Rock Forever Magazine.
Hey guys, it's Tori from Rock Forever Magazine, and I am here right now with Telle from The Word Alive. How's it going?
It is quite wonderful today here in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, it's a bit rainy, but you know what? You guys are brightening the day. You're here
like
playing a good show. Yeah, totally. And you were saying you were from LA, and I imagine people in LA panic when there's rain. So you're okay right now, right?
I'm fine. It's funny because I grew up in Ohio actually, but when I moved out west, the band's from Arizona. I live in California. In both places, anytime it rains, everyone turns into the worst driver of all time, and they're not that great out there anyways, so it's really bad. I try to just stay home on those days and enjoy a nice rainy day at home.
We were going to start with some finish a sentence for you, so you're good to go?
Yeah.
All right, now the highlight of your career so far was when?
The highlight, I would have to say, in a broad kind of way, our most recent co-headlining tour we just finished this past fall. Every show was really amazing. We had some of the best crowd reactions we've ever had, and it was the most consistent tour for us. We had a lot of sold out shows, the biggest sold out shows that we've ever had as a headlining band, and I feel like our album really started to catch on by that time. So that was probably the highlight for me as far as the band. From a music fan, it was probably touring with Killswitch Engage this past summer.
Both amazing moments.
Yeah. Love those guys, love that band, and that tour was amazing for us. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing you guys on that co-headlining tour, and I couldn't even believe how insane that crowd was going for you guys. Yeah. I mean, especially during Life Cycles. That song, people go nuts.
Yeah, it's definitely, that one is what has kind of separated itself from a lot of the other songs we've had, just because we kind of tapped into something where our fans could really connect on a much deeper level. And not that we haven't had songs that kids related to, but I think this one was a little bit more universal, and I think that helped a lot of people. So
absolutely.
That's awesome.
And now, if you could join any other band for a day, it would be think big here.
Any other band? I would probably choose Linkin Park.
Really? Why? Why Linkin Park?
They're one of my favorite bands ever, and a lot of my vocal influence, I can't really say a lot because I have a lot of them, but a lot of where I draw some of the characteristics of my voice are from Chester and his style, and very memorable and powerful, and so I try to have that come across in my voice. So, but I just love that band. All the songs are like sing-alongs, and I feel like every time I hear it at a bar or something, everyone starts singing. So that'd probably be an awesome band. Just any band like that. It's just got every song is a hit that everyone sings it the moment they hear it. That kind of band. I'd love to be that. I
mean, Linkin Park is pretty iconic, so not a bad choice. Not a bad one. And now the biggest challenge you've overcome as a band was when?
A continuous one over the last 5 years. It's just really hard to be in a band, sustain yourself. It's hard to keep going consistently up rather than having a lot of dips, and we've had those dips, but we've always been able to climb back on and try to overcome whatever it is that we're going through the time, whether it's a financial obstacle, whether it's some member changes that we've had in the past, whether it's differences of opinion musically. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We love making music, and we want to travel the world and do it because of music. So that's kind of our one motivating factor that kind of always pulls us back together. And we've definitely overcome a lot, some that people know about, some that people haven't, and it's definitely not easy. We've had some tours where we had a string of horrible luck and lost tens and tens of thousands of dollars, and that really sets you back, especially if you have a tour that does that, and then you're off tour for a while, and then the next tour maybe doesn't do so well, and then you went 6-7 months without making money, losing money, and still trying to pay bills, eat, live. And so being in a band definitely is not something for the faint of heart or those who give up easily. But we've made it through. We're in year 5, and I think that this is going to be the biggest year for us yet. So.
Yeah. I mean, I am glad you've made it through all of these obstacles, and I know your fans are too, that you've stuck around for so long, and you inspire a lot of people, so keep doing what you're doing,
We will.
And if you could bring back any 90s show, it would be, this is a more fun question, I suppose.
When I was a little kid, I couldn't watch a lot of TV. We didn't really have cable, but we had a couple channels that I would sneak. And I actually would probably have to pick the original Ninja Turtles cartoon.
That's a real throwback.
My brothers, all of us, I have 3 other brothers, and we would all pick a Ninja Turtle, and I would be Leonardo because I was the oldest. And but that show was really awesome. I have a lot of good memories of running around the house and pretending to be Ninja Turtles. So
yeah,
I like the original. I don't like a lot of the new age versions of them, but I love that show.
I mean, that is a major throwback, so I'm really glad you said that.
And original Transformers and those cool cartoons that they just don't make them that good anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And now your album Life Cycles is out now, like we were talking about, and the title track and really the whole album is a really motivational album, really inspirational for a lot of your fans. And I mean, the lyrics are so powerful. So what motivates you to write the kind of songs that you do?
I mean, for me, a lot of it is just the things I experience, the things I feel. When I started the band, I had just turned 22, and now I'll be turning 28 this summer, right after Warped Tour. So, a lot has changed in those, 5.5 years. And, I made a lot of mistakes, early on, whether it was, within the band or within my personal life. And, the things I started learning and picking up on, and just my mental attitude changing, and just developing into, a person that is capable of understanding their flaws. And I try to, address things that I've made mistakes doing, or things that some people could consider regrets, and I try to turn it into something that hopefully someone else can learn from before they make the mistake, or at the very least that they can listen to a Word Alive song and they can have something to relate to when they're going through something. Because in reality, a lot of us go through the same things. I mean, it might be different variations here and there, but most people have, that first crush, that first love, the first serious girlfriend, you quit a job and you can't find a new one, you get fired, you get laid off, you have a string of bad luck, your best friend betrays you. There's just on and on, family members dying, friends dying. There's a lot of things that everyone goes through in life, and unfortunately everything that we go through is it's a part of life. But the good thing is, once you realize that, hey, there's people who have it worse, every day is a day to learn. And when you start changing the way that you view the negative things that impact your life, the more easy it is to put things in perspective and kind of sit back and realize that, everything could be worse. And that's kind of where my mindset is when I'm writing. I want it to be from a different perspective that is a little bit ahead of where the people listening to our music are at, and hopefully we've done that. And this is pretty much it.
Yeah. And I guess the cool thing is for you too is that since you're inspired by your real life, it's sort of like you're documenting your life, so you can look back on past releases, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like a yearbook in a way.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
But you're planning to release a new album in the spring, right? Is that the plan right now?
It's probably gonna be, it's late spring, early summer-ish.
Okay.
It's definitely it's coming out before Warped Tour for sure.
But how do you want it to compare to Life Cycles? How's it going to compare?
The things that I want it to compare are, I want it to have, an impact on people's lives. I don't want to sing about something that, is kind of a fleeting moment or something that's just trendy now. Our band has never really been that band. We were naive at times, so I've definitely written some songs that, looking back, if I would have thought that we would still be performing them 5 years later, maybe I would have taken my time and maybe I would have changed some of the topics. But it's like you said, it's kind of like a yearbook. You kind of go back and you think about where you were, in that moment when you wrote that song, or when you first played it live, or, when your fans started connecting to it. And, there are those kids who have been with our band for 5 years now, and maybe that was their favorite song, but now they've kind of grown up with us, so they're like, that's what got me into you guys, but I don't really listen to that song now. But you keep making songs that, as I grow and develop and change, you always have a song for me. And that's kind of what our band wants to be, is a band that, our fans can grow up with, because we're growing up, and we're never going to be the band we were 5 years ago. We always want to strive for something more, and we're always changing. Maybe your favorite color, your favorite band, your favorite car, whatever it is, your favorite anything. Most things, it changes as you grow older, and your tastes develop in different ways. So that's kind of our band. We don't want to make the same record twice. So it's not going to sound like Life Cycles. It's not going to sound like Deceiver. It's not going to sound like Empire. But I think this album brings in a lot of the characteristics of each of those releases that our fans love the most. And we tried to hone that in with progressing to a bigger, newer sound for The Word Alive. And I think that this record is the first time where we really focused on that. We took our time. So I don't think there's going to be any fans of ours, old or new, that are disappointed. And the fans that are or were with certain releases we've had, I understand why they were, and we're old enough and we can sit back and, take criticism, and we can realize what we've done that we could have done better, changed, but, you have to make mistakes to learn from them. And we don't really view the songs as mistakes, but it's just kind of stepping stones. We're getting closer and closer to honing in who we are, and developing our signature sound. So hopefully we're one step closer with this album, if not 10 steps. And that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, and I mean, you are saying you are growing with every album, and I hear a lot of bands say this, and it sounds like the case with you guys as well, that bands can relate to their newest release the most. So how has your perspective of Life Cycles changed since you released it 2012?
I mean, a lot's changed, but a lot stayed the same in some ways. Within the band, our band has changed a lot, but for the better. We're a lot closer than we were when we wrote Life Cycles. We were all pretty disconnected, and there was a lot of things going on in the band, both on the business side and on the musical side, and even on the friendship side, where we were struggling with communication and continuing to remember the core of our band, which is we're friends. We're friends who love being around each other, and we also love making music together, and then everything comes after that. So we try to get back to the basics, but when we did Life Cycles, we weren't in a really good place. We weren't all on the same page, and I think it kind of shows. I think there's some disconnection on the record, but I'm okay with it because that's where we were. It's easy to say go back and change it, or if we would have done this, but you never know. Maybe we needed to learn more so that we could be this way now. So that was a learning lesson record for us, but it also brought out some of our favorite songs we've ever written, our bigger songs that have connected with the fans, and we showcased a few different styles and things that we had never shown before on Deceiver or Empire. So I think it still was a positive record for us, and it's done really well. So we're thankful that our fans, whether it wasn't their favorite, it seems like we didn't really lose, fans. We feel like we're growing all the time, and I think it's because our fans know that we're not that band we're trying to catch on to, a trend train or anything like that. They know that what we're making at the time is the best that we could have made, and we're genuine in what we're performing and playing. And I think our fans get that about us. We're just, a real band that loves our fans, that we understand we wouldn't be here without them, and we just try to put on a good show. And I think our live show goes beyond what you can capture in a record. So I also think too that some of the songs on Life Cycles we've helped take to a new level live, with the incorporation of our fans also, singing along and being interactive with us. So I think being a live band, a band that you really have to see live to understand what we're all about, I think that really helps us because, those fans who wanted something different and maybe they wanted Deceiver again or they wanted Empire again, we still put on a good show and we still are that band. So I really think that adds to our band and to hopefully the memory that we're trying to create, that one day when we are done, people can say as a whole the Word Alive was, a really fun band, and no matter what, you could go a year without listening to us, go to a show and feel like you saw us for the first time all over again. That's kind of what we want. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely what you were saying about your live show, because the first time I saw you guys, I'll be honest, I wasn't too familiar with music, but I was totally mesmerized and I was really interested to learn more. So I think that's the case with a lot of people. And this is the first album you've recorded with Luke Holland, right? Yeah. So how did he change the recording process for you guys? How was it different working with him?
Well, drums went pretty quickly in the studio. He's done so many things on YouTube where he's tracking drums. He's done more covers than a lot of bands who've been together for like 7 years have tracked songs. So he's great in the studio. And he brings a different element to the band, drum-wise especially, but he'll take something that, maybe the guys were just doing something basic to get an idea out, like say it's a pattern or something of some sorts, and the way his mind works is he's really good at creating unique patterns that you don't feel like you've heard it before. So I think our record, especially the heavy parts and the parts where we are chugging or we do have breakdowns, it's not like how seemingly most other bands are doing breakdowns, or even how we have in the past. Because we're not going to say that we were never like that. We've had breakdowns that are super simple and just heavy and straightforward, and sometimes that's what you want. You just want something that's straight to the point. You get it the first time you listen to it. This record, we definitely have some songs that are really, really heavy, but it's kind of in a different way. It's more of just the overall vibe of the part is heavy, and I don't know what band to compare it to. Maybe kind of like Deftones, how they're a heavy band, but it's more like the energy. It's kind of dark, and it's not that they're just sitting there playing. Steven's not just playing open chugs to be heavy. Anyone can do that, but to make a riff that just is really ballsy and in your face, like Luke being great at drums and thinking that way, kind of helped the guys to bring out more of themselves. So it was great to have him, and he's a team player. He could have gone off and done the craziest things you've ever heard on drums, but he wanted to try to do what was best for the songs overall. So there's definitely parts where he does some stuff that everyone's going to be like, damn, this is what Luke Holland can do on drums. And then there's going to be other parts where you're focusing and you hear the guitars, or you hear the programming, or you hear bass, or your vocals, and I think it's a fair balance throughout it. So he was great.
I'm going to pay so much attention to the drums now. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, you really have to. You really have to. And we're going to do videos where he does a drum playthroughs of different songs, so people will really be able to focus on that. And hopefully we'll do it for all the instruments, because I think overall you'll hear something as you listen to the song for the first time, but as you start to digest the song, I think people are going to have to listen to the drums, then they're going to have to listen to what's going on with the bass, and they're going to have to listen to guitars and programming and vocals, and then they'll understand the whole even more so. So, but there's a lot of underlying stuff that everyone does throughout the record that's really cool, and I'm really proud of everyone in my band. I think that they did a great job, and overall I think everyone pushed themselves, so we'll see.
I'm excited to hear you paid so much attention to detail, because you're starting to hear a lot of breakdowns that sound exactly the same. So thank you for switching it up. And we got a fan question here from Frank asking, what's your favorite song from the new album and why? Is it really hard to choose? You sound so proud of the album. I
No,
can't even imagine.
And I know it's really cliche to say, like, oh, all the songs. I can honestly say on Life Cycles, my favorite song was Astral Plane, but I really love, like, Life Cycles as well. Those two songs are probably my favorite off that record. And, you know, and off Deceiver, I had, you know, like, We Know Who You Are, Dreamcatcher, which we've never played either of those songs. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But this record is the first time where it's like we've been discussing it like a track listing, and we've been discussing like what songs to play, what songs to be singles, and the song we're playing tonight and on this tour that's new, it's called Play the Victim. I think it's a really good song that kind of blends old Word Alive with new The Word Alive. It's not very like program heavy, it's just mostly musical. It's, you know, it's just The Word Alive, just something just real, and everyone's doing something really cool that blends to make a really genuine song. But that one's pretty up there. But there's probably one, it doesn't have a title officially yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be called Your World. But if people were paying attention to our pre-pro, it was called 5-2. And that's probably my favorite song on the record. It's kind of like Astral Plane meets Life Cycles meets like kind of like Under Oath's Define the Great Line or something. It's like more, it's like a dark, it's like a dark, intense song that I feel has some really memorable parts. But it's just more about like the vibe of the song. Like it's not about any one part. It's about the overall, like the emotion that you feel when you listen to something. It's almost like listening to classical music where, just rammed.
Good thing there's an arm rest.
Yeah. You know, it's more about like the overall tone of the song, and I think that coupled with the lyrics, it's going to be one of our fans' favorite songs. But you know, we'll find out.
And what do you think is the biggest misconception about the band that you would like to clear up?
Aside from our name being The World Alive, that's probably the most misuse of a band name I've heard, that a band who's been around as long as us. You know, we've been a band for 5 years. There's obviously no L in our name. People will tag us as The Word Alive, but then write us, I love The World Alive, or something, and I'm like, well, you had to tag us. You saw that first, our name. There's no L in it, but that's probably the biggest thing.
That makes me cringe.
and aside from that, I don't think there's a lot of misconceptions. I think we've been pretty open, you know, with our fans about most things in our career, and we haven't had too much crazy drama or anything like that. We're all friends with our past members, and you know,
which
whatever.
Is rare.
Yeah, it is. And but you know, whatever issues we ever had with anyone, we only kicked out one member ever. Everyone else has left for one reason or another, but it was never because they were like unhappy with us.
Which is good sign.
Yeah, it's just some people, you know, the road is not for them. You know, some people just can't stand being away from family, friends. They'd rather wake up in their own bed every day, and believe me, I would love that. But at this point in my life, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what the other 4 guys in our band right now are meant to do, and that's why we've been all together strong with Luke for over 2 years now. 2 years next month, actually. Luke joined officially in March. But like me, Zach, Tony, and Daniel have all been together since shortly after Deceiver came out. So, I mean, the core of our band has been together for a long time, and me, Zach, and Tony, who've written the majority of the music for until like Daniel joined the band, really, and Luke, because with the new record it was more collaborative overall. But our past stuff was like either me and Zach, me and Tony, us 3, like, you know, it's like, and then everyone's building off of it. So you know, the core of our band has never really changed. So I think that's really important, and that's maybe something that people have a misconception about, is that, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, this member's there, everything changed. It's like, well, that person didn't even write the part that you think they wrote, and you know, it's like the person who wrote that's still in the band, you know, that's still alive and well. It's just we're growing and changing, so things are never going to sound the exact same. And so that's just that's probably the closest one aside from our name issue.
Yeah. And I have a fun question here for you now. You guys were on Punk Goes Pop a couple times, so if you had to cover another current pop song right now, which one would you choose?
I really like, and it's not like a pop song, but one of my favorite bands over the last couple of years that's come out is The Neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a single. It's not Sweater Weather. It's actually the one Afraid. And me and Daniel love that song, that band, and I would love to do a cool rendition of that song or one of their songs. I love them. I hope our fans tag them with this interview because we love them, and I think that they're doing something new and refreshing, and it's really cool. It's like a really honest band, and it's just simple, and I like it a lot.
So now I have an assignment for everybody watching. Tweet The Neighborhood with this interview.
Yeah.
I think we need to make something happen here.
Yeah.
No, but you guys are on tour with Memphis May Fire right now. What are your plans for right after this and that fans can look forward to?
Right after this, we actually go to the UK with Memphis May Fire. Then we go to Russia with Memphis May Fire. Then we come home. We have a little bit of a break. We might fit in some more international stuff. We've just been trying to go to as many places as we can leading up to our album, hitting some places we've never hit before. And then we have Warped Tour all summer long. And after that, we don't have anything scheduled yet officially, but it just, you know, a lot of things depend on how the album does, and, you know, how strong our fans support us, you know, whether it's the album just explodes and we're able to come out and do, you know, a really awesome headlining tour, or if we need to do, you know, one more support tour on the record. Not one more, it would be the first support tour technically, but if we need to do a support tour first and kind of build the songs a little bit more, and then, you know, move to a headliner probably early next year. But that's kind of how a band works. You look, it's so far ahead, the schedule. So it really just depends on our fans. If they love this album and they carry us to the next level, then that opens up a lot of doors and a lot of options. So we'll see.
Well, based on everything you said about this album, I think they're going to love it. So,
I think so too.
That's what I'm thinking.
I hope so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been awesome. Everybody watching, make sure you check out The Word Alive if you haven't already. Not The World Alive, The Word Alive. Their album Life Cycles is on iTunes. Getting ready for the new one coming soon. Subscribe for more interviews, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Later.